Hello, good evening.
Hello, hello.
My name is Dayah and I'm here with
Hello,
Kyyberi.
hello. Oh, sorry, I have to put my voice down. Okay, now it's better. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. So first of all, this is PLO night and please can you tell us that you can hear both of our voices correctly
Yeah. Is
and you
it
can
good?
see what's going on.
Hello, hello. Testing, testing.
You can comment on our Twitch chat or on our own chat on pokermania.com.
All right. So now you have played PLO for 2 weeks, slightly more, 2.5 weeks. How has it been?
It's been interesting to say the least. Probably the playing has been way harder than I originally thought. And I have been so lost in kind of a few times to say the least, but it's been kind of a fun to do something completely different for a while.
Okay. How many hands have you played in past 2 weeks?
Only around 800.
Okay.
I had to make a trip to Finland to see my friend having her doctorate. I don't know if that's the correct word. And then we had some guests after all, but that's a start, isn't it?
Okay. How many sessions have you played?
Maybe 4, 5.
And in how many of those you did the warm-up routine that we agreed on?
Maybe 2.
2. Oh, that's probably 2 more than I expected. So,
Yeah.
so you are just like any other person.
Yeah.
It's easy to make plans, easy to agree, make some kind of decisions, but it's harder to go through them.
Yeah, it's kind of an easy to say that, okay, yeah, I'm going to do that this is clear to me at the moment, but when you're going back to the things and you're trying to figure out, okay, how did this go and how should I start? And then you start to think that, okay, I could do something else or something easier, and it's completely wrong way to go. I know it.
Yeah, that's what happens. So there are so many customers that I have had coaching sessions that we have done the same thing, that we agreed that the customer is going to do 1 or 2 hands before each session, and then after a week when we have another session, it's close to 0 hands overall. But the thing is that the only way to learn is to do the work. And it's not my job to do the work, so to speak. I cannot do it for you. So it's just up to you how much you want to do work for learning. And today, before we go to the PLO things, I want to explain a few things about how do we learn stuff. And I sent you a picture of 4 steps of learning any skill. You should have them. No, it's not that one. It's going to be the Maslow's 4 stages of the last one. This one, if anyone has read Sarah Tendler's book Mental Game of Poker, it uses the same 4 stages of learning. And basically with any skill that we are ever going to learn, we have 4 steps. We have unconscious incompetence, conscious incompetence, conscious competence, and unconscious competence. And the idea is that the first level, unconscious incompetence, is the level where you don't even know that the skill exists. And second one, conscious incompetence, is that you know it, but you don't yet know how to do it. And conscious competence is that you can do it when you concentrate on it. And the final stage is unconscious competence, which is a level of automation. It becomes automatic for you. And there are so many examples, like driving a car is a classic example, but I thought today that actually learning how to read is a pretty good example. Like when you are 1-year-old or 2-year-old, your reading skills are at level of unconscious incompetence. You don't recognize any letters, you don't know that reading exists. You are just interested in your toys and mommy. But when you grow up, you learn that there are letters, and for somehow they connect to the things that we speak. And you can see that adults can read from books and there are letters, so then it becomes conscious incompetence. You know it exists, but you don't know how to read. Mm-hmm. And then when you learn all the alphabets and so on, it becomes the level of conscious competence. You are able to read, but you have to concentrate on it. Like when you are 8 or 9 years old, you know how to read, you can read sentences, but it takes a lot of work. And the more you practice it, the faster and easier it becomes. And now, I hope that when you are adult, it's in the level of unconscious competence. So when you see a word, you don't have to think about the letters, you just know it. You can read it. You don't have to think about it. And the same steps can be used for any skills. And this is important when you are practicing poker skills. Every PLO skill that you are about to learn is at one of these 4 steps. And it's important if you can recognize what step are you in. Like, probably you are a poker player, so you know about starting hands. But in PLO 2 weeks ago, it was in the level of conscious incompetence. You know about starting hands, but you didn't have an idea about PLO starting hands. And then when you learn, practice, do repetitions over again, it becomes to the level of conscious competence, where you know when you see a hand, you think, is this a good hand or not? What are the potentials? What are the setbacks? And when you practice it even more, it becomes the level of unconscious competence. You see a PLO hand, you instantly know if it's good or not, or in what scenarios it's best and when it's not useful and so on. Or how to play 10 high flush on a 5-way pot when you flop the flush. As you asked me today, how to play it. So you are in a level of conscious incompetence. You know that there is a solution, what is the best way to play. And then when you practice, it becomes conscious competence. When you think about the situation, you can figure out what is the best way to play. And when you practice even more, it becomes unconscious competence, which means that when you flop 10 high flush 5-way, you don't have to think, you know what to do and can focus on other hands. So this is the level of skills. And now, in poker we have to make quite many decisions. And if you put up this normal curve here, the middle one, the middle picture in your browser.
This one?
Yeah, it should be a bell curve. You can leave it there. I'm going to use my high-tech presentation.
I was so impressed when I saw that.
Yeah, I have a paper and I have a pen, so I'm going to draw you stuff, because that's the easiest way to show you what I mean. This is a bell curve, and the thing is that, how do I do it so you can see it? Here we have the level of our decisions, which means that our absolute best, our A game, is here on the right, and our absolute worst is here on the left. And for sake of simplicity, we are going to divide our game into A game, B game, and C game. On the picture that you put up there, there's A, B, C, D, and F. That's a picture I found. It's missing E game, but You can use ABC. A is our absolute best, B is below it, and C is our absolute worst when we go on monkey tilt, when we play at our worst. And here we have the number of decisions. And now every poker decisions that, can you see it, I hope?
Yeah, I can see it.
Decision that we made, we can put somewhere in here. Like A, B, C. And what happens is that the curve should be like this one.
Yeah.
So somewhere around here. Here is our A decisions. This area is our B decisions, and this is our C decisions, which means that most of our decisions are in our B game. And a small portion of time we play our A game. And this player plays a little more C game. And the average is somewhere around here.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, when we want to improve, if we the common way to improve is to just focus on our A game. We want to learn new stuff. We want to watch new videos. We want to practice new concepts. This is a common problem among poker players because you might be in a level of conscious incompetence about a lot of concepts. Like you know that, oh, I have so much to learn in PLO. I have to learn how to play 3-bet pots. I have to play out of position, how to play from the blinds, how do I play aces, how do I play rundowns, what about on trip boards, when can I bluff? And there's so many new stuff that you are just focusing on your A game. And when your A game becomes better, what happens is this. We have the same line here. And we have C, B, and A. And we don't improve our C game, so it starts from here. But previously, the graph ended here. So it was like this. Now when our A game goes ahead, the graph goes like this. So it becomes flatter.
Yeah.
And now if we improve our A game even more, what happens is that our range of skills looks like a tortoise. So the range of skills is pretty wide. Our absolute best is pretty good, but our absolute worst is still pretty bad. And this concept is called the inchworm. So once our A game goes ahead, now if we focus on our C game and move it ahead, then the graph starts from here. And what happens is that instead of this, now I should have a red pencil, instead of this graph, when we improve our A game to here and C game to here, the graph goes like this. And suddenly, what happens is now our B game is pretty much at the level of our previous A game. So the level of our A game is actually constantly going up. And what is your A game today might be your C game in a couple of months.
Oh.
But if you don't improve your C game remains where it is, and your A game just goes ahead. And of course you can have A, B, C, D, E, F, how many games you want to categorize. But if we only focus on A game, it means that our range of skill becomes wider. And we don't want to have a wide range. We want to have a narrow range that is focused on A game. Now, let me refresh my iPad. Now the thing is that, of course, the curve isn't always symmetrical. Like if we focus on having good warm-up routines, we maximize the potential by removing all the distractions, being in a good mental and physical shape, the curve might be actually looking like this, which means that most of our decisions are at 8 game. But once again, if I move my C game ahead, then the graph would be like this, which is even better.
Yeah.
So this is the idea that you have to learn new stuff, but you constantly have to practice all the things that are still problem in your C game. And often players think that if they just improve the A game, it's enough. And probably when they play at their best, they are pretty damn good players. You probably know these kind of players that they have a lot of potential, and when they are at their best, they are pretty good. But when they are at their worst, they are very far away from A game. So now, especially when you are learning PLO, it's important that you learn the new stuff. But don't start rushing and try to learn dozen things at the same time. Focus on a couple of things, and every now and then focus on the basics. Improve your C and B game, which means that your range of skills becomes narrow and it's more constant on what level you are playing. So that's pretty much how you learn skills, and the idea is that you want to learn as many skills as possible to the level of unconscious competence. True. And it means that when you learn the things like starting hands and bed sizings, freeflop, and so on to the level of conscious competence, unconscious competence, it means that you have brain resources to learn new stuff, because you just cannot learn 20 things at the same time.
True.
No.
Something needs to be automated.
Yeah, if you open up the Maslow's 4 stages of learning, once again, the only way to move from step 1 to step 2, from unconscious incompetence to conscious incompetence, that's pretty easy step. Someone tells you that, hey, this thing exists. And from conscious incompetence to conscious competence, that's still a pretty easy step. You just have to learn how to do it. And that's often where most people stop at poker. Like mathematics. Someone tells them that we have this thing called implied odds, which means that you can call withdrawals without direct pot odds. And then the player is, wow, that's nice. And then he reads an article or watches a video about how to calculate implied odds. And he does a couple of practices and finds out, okay, now I know how to calculate it. And then he's at the level of conscious competence. So when it happens on the table, he takes like 15 seconds, 20 seconds to calculate the implied odds. And he's happy about it. I know how to do it. And that's it. But if he practices even more and does repetitions over and over again, it becomes to the level of unconscious competence, which means that in theory, when someone bets, he just knows how much he needs implied odds. He don't have to do the conscious thinking. And the only way from step 3 to step 4 is to do repetitions. And anyone who has practiced any sports at high level knows this. There's no other way to learn any physical skills than just do repetitions thousands and thousands and thousands times over and over and over again. And the same applies in poker. There's no short roads to learn poker skills than just practice, practice, practice. And that's, as Arnimitsa says, it's not sexy. It's not sexier to play poker than do mathematical calculations over and over again, or practice starting hands. It's not enough that you can figure out if the hand is playable or not in 10 seconds, because it's 10 seconds away from the time bank. If you can do it in half a second by unconscious competence, then it opens up 10 seconds more to think about adjustments and opponents. And this is what is important for you, because you are at the stages of learning. When you rise from step 2 to step 3 and step 3 to step 4, just repeat, repeat, repeat. Because the thing is that when we are playing, let me find from my, where are they? Damn. Well, I'm going to make a new one, because I have. This is our current range of skills. Mm-hmm. For you, for me, for 100% of poker players, human poker players in the world. Even the world's best poker player has a curve. And everyone's curve is constantly changing. Every time when they learn something new, it goes up. And every time when they practice basics or repeat them, C goes up. So it's constantly like an inchworm going ahead like this. When we are playing, especially when we are multi-tabling, this is what we do. We do our A decisions, we do our B decisions, we do our C decisions, and we get repetitions of those, which means that the more we repeat C and B, the more they go towards unconscious competence, which means that if we have a flaw in here, we have a decision that is not our best, and we make it over and over and over again, we reinforce it, and it's harder to learn away from it. So when we are multi-tabling, when we don't think a lot, we just do stuff. We play with this one. And every time when we close the tables, play fewer tables and actually think about situations, or outside poker tables, we open softwares or use Notepad or old school Notepad and practice and learn stuff, we improve our range of skills that we take to the table on our next session. So that's another common mistake that players think, especially beginning players, that they have to put up the volume. I have to play 4 tables of Zoom. I have to play 8 tables of Zoom so I can get volume, I can get more hands, so I become better player, which means that instead of becoming better poker players, they are reinforcing all the mistakes they have. And the thing is that most of us have decisions here, which actually, sorry.
Can you raise the picture a bit? Ah, yeah.
We actually have decisions in here that are incorrect ones. We think that they are good decisions, but they might not be, because we might have a lot of things in poker that are still in the level of unconscious incompetence. We don't know that they are mistakes. We think that we play well, but they are not mistakes. This is what one of our moderators, XX, LXX, or is it XX, IXX?
XXY, yeah.
The guy with 4 X's in his nickname. He had a coaching with Arni Metsä, and what he said is that in the coaching, Arni Metsä found out a lot of leagues that he didn't even know that existed. Which means that they were in the level of unconscious incompetence. And if someone is unconscious incompetence, you don't know about it. So it's impossible to fix them. And this is probably where you have a lot of stuff still. And when someone points out that this is a mistake, you instantly rise to level 3, conscious incompetence. And then when you start to think, it goes to level 3, conscious competence. And if you keep up doing the work, it can go to the level of unconscious competence. So it's not enough to just learn stuff, you have to practice it over and over again. So it goes to level of unconscious competence. And I think I have thought about this, but why it's so important to learn in the level of unconscious competence, just a couple of seconds. Let's take a new page. I'm going to draw because it's so fun. This is our time bank.
Yeah.
When it's our turn, the time bank starts to go down. And now our decision making process is this, that let's assume it's a turn, we have a flop set, and turn completes the straight. And this might be an average PLO player's thinking process. First 5 seconds goes to thinking that, oh my god, what a bad turn. OMG, that's the worst card in the deck. Next 5 seconds goes to thinking that, oh my god, how unlucky I am. Okay, now we start to think that, okay, what is my opponent range? 15 seconds. And now timer goes to 10 seconds and we know our opponent range. And now we have to know, what do I do? Oh, time goes out. Damn, I checked. Okay. Well.
And then you start to think that my time is up, my time is up.
I went up, but you checked. Okay, the opponent bets. Now, again, first 10 seconds is the same. Oh my god, he bet. I knew it. Well, now we know that we are unlucky, so we can skip that part. Now, the next part is that, okay, how much I need pot odds. He bet 1.43 in the pot of 2.15. Okay. And let's assume the average poker player, it might take all the time and still we don't have a clue, but let's assume that we are practice mathematics, it takes this much time. And now at here we know the pot odds and we know our equity. Woo! And thing is that, okay, if he has a straight, we need implied odds. How much we need implied odds? And again, timer goes out. And we either call and hope it's plus EV, or we fold because we used all the time. Okay, now here is Dayah, future Dayah, 2018, and she has the same time bank. And he bets the set on the flop. Then turn is a jab, completes a straight. Now, what Dayah has done, that she thought about the range already on the flop when opponent called. And now on the turn, she has learned the range definition in the level of unconscious competence. It takes this much time to figure out the range. Okay, then she thinks, if I check, what does the opponent do? He probably bets, do I have the odds? She has learned those skills almost at the level of unconscious competence. It takes this much. Then she compares, okay, if I bet, what is my opponent calling range compared to his flop range? And what part of the range does he raise? And what do I do if he raises? And a lot of this stuff she has learned in the level of unconscious competence or very high level of conscious competence. It's this much time. Now she has all of this half of time bank to think about decision. Is there something that I have missed? What are his hot stats? Do they affect my decision making? And so on and so on. And let's assume that they have decided that check is the best versus his range. And versus the type of opponent we have. So the opponent bets and not the time bank. And now, as they are already here, thought about what to do, now she knows what to do. Bet sizing gives us spot odds, we need implied odds maybe, each level of unconscious competence. Just have to be sure, and they double and triple checks the calculations. It's this much. So now we have this much time to do other decisions. And what happened here is two things. First, Dayah plays her A game, which means that he doesn't think, oh my god, what a bad turn on the table, and she doesn't think, oh, how lucky she is. Because those are not useful at poker tables.
Not relevant.
Yeah, and the thing is that the higher our skill is in the 4 steps, the shorter this time is. You might be able to define range, but it might take 15 seconds. Or if you practice it enough, it takes 1 second. Or it can actually take half a second when it's at the highest level of unconscious competence. You just know it. The speed of our unconscious thinking is so fast that this is what's required to be a good poker player. Because now, instead of using the whole time bank to figure out his range, you can figure out his range, required pot odds, different decision trees in really short time, which means that you have this time space to do something else. And now you can learn new skills. What do I need to do to be GTO? Can I adjust from GTO? You can check his HUD stats to find anything useful information and so on. But if defining range takes 30 seconds, there's no point of learning anything else than what you can do with the range, because you don't have time for it. And that's why you have to practice the basic things over again. It's like in sports, let's take Teemu Selänne or some other hockey players, whatever you want. If you go to Teemu Selänne and say that, hey, you know how to shot the puck, no reason to practice it anymore, I think that Teemu would laugh at you and just say that, oh, I need to practice it a lot to become even better and to maintain my level of shooting puck skill. And same in poker. You have to practice all the basic things. No matter how good you are, it never hurts to practice basics every now and then. So now when you start to learn, I hope this really small half an hour introduction learning skills helps to understand you and other players that why it's important to practice the things more than just watching the video. And what is our learning process or improving process? We have to be the inchworm. We move the top of our skills and we have to practice the bottom of our skills too. So they go up from the end and from the bottom. Okay?
I think sometimes unconscious competence is so hidden that some people even call it that it's my gut feeling, and they don't even realize that it's not only gut feeling, it's also all the information you have learned before, but you are not just realizing you are doing all the thing like from the back of your backbone.
Gut feeling is our unconscious thinking, and sometimes it's doing the right decisions, sometimes it actually might do the wrong decisions. But that's what some people say. I don't know why, but I just knew he was bluffing. Yeah. And it might be that your unconscious thinking is picking up the information that you don't know that you have picked. It's not conscious thinking. So your brain is working on unconscious level and processing all the information, and it gives you the answer that, yeah, he might be bluffing. This is what happens to me every now and then. It's like when I watch the hand, I know that somehow I have a feeling that he is bluffing. But when I try to figure out what is the reason for the feeling, I kind of know it while playing. But often, if I mark the hand and then after the session I go back to the hand and try to find why I had that feeling, then I might pick up some information that, okay, this indicates a bluff, and so on and so on. Should we go to PLO?
Sure. There's actually a good point from Kalian that when you are saving time learning new stuff, there is more time for something else. Is it going to be cat videos from YouTube or polishing your nails during your set?
No.
Maybe adding tables would be the most optimal when you're really knowing what you're doing.
Yeah. And what Karen said that if you try to learn too fast, then it stops in the level of conscious incompetence or at the bottom of conscious competence.
I think the conscious incompetence is probably the hardest part when you know that there is so much stuff you don't know, but still you don't know how to do it.
Yeah, that's one thing that often stops people from learning new stuff because there's so much to do and they realize that, oh, this is going to be a shitload of work. And then they try to think it as whole and I have to learn all of this. And if you divide it into pieces, like I learned one thing this week, there's 99 things that I have to learn after that, but I do one thing at a time, then it's much easier. It's like when you set up a goal, you have to have these sub-goals to make it easier to see that you have progressed. And especially now, I told you in the blog that could you make a study plan? Like, what are the things I'm going to study this week? Or this week I have 7 days, I'm going to study 4 of those. What are the topics on those 4 days? And what are the actual things that I'm going to do? And it helps if you have a solid plan. But if you just think that, okay, today I'm going to learn PLO, I open up some articles and videos and watch 7 videos today and read 2 books, and then I'm going to play 15 tables for an hour. Then you are trying to learn 15 things at the same time, and it doesn't work like that. Just focus on 1 or 2 things at a time. Alright. In Twitch, love.
LOL EV Plus. Yeah, I was wondering about that last time.
Yeah, I thought it was a love plus.
Yeah, me too.
EV plus. Yeah, in unconscious level, the decisions are super fast. Like if you think about reading as an adult, if you read a book, you can read like, I don't know how much, 10 words a second. What is the average of for human? I don't know, but it's pretty much compared to when you were 7 and it takes 2 minutes for 1 word. So it becomes faster and faster. Or driving a car, when you first started the car, it was a pain to remember all the gears and what the pedals were, and then you had to focus on the traffic, and it was pretty hard. But when you do it over and over again, you don't have to even think about driving a car, you just do it. All right, let's go to PL, and if you can open the massive database of 800 hands, let's see what has happened.
There we go. So if you want to see my awesome graph, here it is. It's a bit too big, just a second.
Yeah.
It's better now?
All right. So you are making profit.
I am, and I'm really surprised and proud of myself at the moment.
Okay, now when you are proud of having a profitable graph, you are focusing on the results, This is what we talked about at Sunday on the Finnish coaching about mental game. Let's focus on your decisions. Can you open up your positional stats? Probably from results and then just group by position on the left. On the left, on the left, on the left, on the left.
Left.
Left is the other.
The other left.
The group by state, change it to group by position.
Do I need bigger?
Right, and then there's probably an easier way. Animecha is going to say it in probably in 2 seconds. But if you can change the configure the report here, so we take away all the non-important stats. Use your right button. Right is the other right, yes. And we take away all the stuff but the hands. So just remove all the other stats here. We change them to more important ones. So just double click on those and get them away.
Only hands.
Yeah, only hands, and then we are going to add VPIP, preflop raise, raise first in, and 3-bet.
So bets, 3-bet. Actually,
you can type it in the search.
There's millions.
So it's a
I
bit
remember that there's something
Preflop.
called differently than it's used to.
Yeah, it was already there, but yeah, let's go to VPIP.
Yeah, now you see it.
No, not that one, but just VPIP. No, it's in there. Yep.
Yeah, there is like a 10 seconds of delay, I think, before you see
Yeah.
it.
Okay, and preflop raise. It's PFR. Just type PFR.
My letters are.
Yeah, I thought that most of us adults have learned the letters in the competence, but yeah, it's hard. Yeah, then just pick one of those preflop races.
Yeah, not legacy edition.
I don't know what that is. And then raise first in, you have to type it raise first. And then you can find it. When the sample size is 800 hands, there's no reason to think about profits or river call efficiency or anything like that. So just see some overall, like you have around 200 hands from each position, so we can get some idea from those. Then 3-bet.
I don't know why it's going so slow at the moment. No, it doesn't like my 3-bet. 3-bet in general.
There it is, 3-bet preflop.
They're pre-flop, yeah.
No.
Before flop. But
No, go up, it's fourth one from the top.
yeah, now you got it.
Yeah. And then we want to have the let's put up the C-bet flop and fold to C-bet. If there's some really funny stuff going on, it probably shows there. So just C-bet.
It doesn't like my C-bet. For some reason.
No, just C-bet without any other spaces or lines or.
should be a line.
No, there shouldn't be. No, not in PLO.
There should be.
You can add call flop c-bet and c-bet flop. The call flop c-bet is the top one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then if you go down, you can probably find where there is c-bet flop.
Flop c-bet.
There it is. I
Yep.
can find it. Yeah, and now just press OK and save it.
Yeah, not enough hands for all the stats, but
Yeah, but we can see that your average VPIP pre-flop raise is 31 and 16 and 3-bet under 1.
you told me not to 3-bet.
Yeah.
So I'm almost there.
I think it's better to have a really low 3-bet than have a high 3-bet and lose even more money.
Yeah.
We can go to 3-betting after we learn the basics. VPIP 31 is a bit high. So there's probably quite many hands that shouldn't be played. Because especially at micros, often people say that as the range is so high, it's better to have a tighter range. And I think definitely under 30. When you have 31, you have a lot of marginal hands in it. Pre-flop raise 16 is quite decent. Like if this would be something like 25-16, 24-16, it would be a bit better. Raise first in from small blind, you open 70% against the big blind.
Yeah, I like to steal, but it doesn't work.
Well, heads up pot out of position is the worst place to be in PLO, and heads up pot in position is the best place to be. So
Yeah.
when you open from the small blind, you are in the worst situation and the opponent is in the best situation. So if the big blind is good one, he is going to defend with the really wide range. And when you are out of position, no matter what your hand is, it's going to be hard to play. And if your range is 70%, it's even harder. So
Yeah,
probably if the sample size goes up and you play 70% from small blinds, you are not making a lot of money with those. But from early position, middle position, here your raise first in is higher from early position, but the sample size is pretty low. But at least we can see that from the cutoff from the button it goes up, which is quite nice. And with this sample size, probably as you play 1/3 of the hands, there's not that many flop situations that we should be super worried about these numbers. So nothing arm in there.
I think that was something I said out loud when I was playing, that I should be probably raising here, but I'm too afraid to do so because I'm going to be in a trouble afterwards when I see the flop in a big pot. So I wanted to keep the pot smaller, and it's too much limping for sure.
Yeah, the problem in limping is that you're still going to be in problems. And the worst thing that I find out in limping is that if you actually hit the nuts in a limp spot, it sucks because you are missing a ton of value. Like, I can use my high tech. Okay, let's assume that it's a three-way pot and you limp. So on the flop, the pot is 3 BBs and you hit the nuts. So you bet 2 BBs and the opponent calls. So when you come up on the turn, here you bet 2, so the pot is going to be 7. Okay, you still have the nuts. So on the turn you bet 5. opponent calls. So on the river, the pot is 17. And you still have the nuts. And now you go for value betting, you bet 13, and the opponent calls. Which means that on the flop, turn, and river, you got 20 BBs of value. That's nice. Okay, let's assume that you open pre-flop 3 BBs and 2 players call. So on the flop, the pot is 9 BBs. And you flop the nuts. You bet 6. The opponent still has the second nut, so he's going to call your flop bet. Now on the turn, the pot is going to be 21 BBs. You still have the nuts, you bet 15. Opponent calls. On the river, you have 51 BBs. And you value bet 30 BBs, opponent calls, which means that you got total value of 51 BBs. So investing 2 BBs more on the flop, when you actually hit something, the difference might be 31 BBs in value.
That's a lot.
So that's a lot. Our aim in poker table is not to make it easy for us, to make it safe. Our idea is not to be in safe mode and lose as little as possible. Our idea is to win as much as possible. So if we have a good hand, by raising, we create a situation where we are going to make more money when we hit the hand. And if we want to raise a hand for value, it means that the hand is better than the average hand for our opponent. Or we have position that we can make good decisions. Like if you limp a hand and you hit the top set on the flop, then it kind of sucks because it's really hard to value. Like if it's a 4-way pot and everyone limps and suddenly someone pots the flop, often people give a lot of respect for that. But if you open pre-flop and you see bet the flop, people might be bluffing you. Like if you bet pot in a limp spot, then no one is going to raise you as a bluff because they think that you have no reason to bet. Like if you are opening pre-flop, then you have a reason to bet as people expect you to see bet. So they might raise you as a bluffs and semi-bluffs. So you actually get value from wider range after opening pre-flop. And the good rule of thumb is that if the hand is not good enough for opening, then it's not good enough for limping. There are some situations that we actually want to limp behind other limpers. But in general, with 100 BB stacks against totally unknowns, either open the hand or fold it. Especially when you are in position, just when you open, you can knock away the blinds, which brings dead money to the pot, and it's easier to play heads up pot in position than 3-way pot in position. But I would say that, did you practice starting hands at any point during these 2.5 weeks?
In the middle of some of those sets. I think actually one thing that Arnimetsa said in the chat that that's probably true, that some of the hands, like surprisingly many, are probably 4 or 3-handed. And actually that was one of the questions I had, that when the table goes emptier, it's not 6-max anymore, it's 4-way or 3-way or even heads up. What's the point when I should actually leave if my skill level is not good enough for just playing heads up, or should I just keep on playing and gathering information and go through the spots later on?
Well, when player number goes down, then it becomes a bit harder because heads up is different than from 6-max.
Yeah.
But I would say that you can play even heads up if you want. It just brings you new situations. And it probably brings you situations where you are far away from your comfort zone if you have even one in PLO. But it depends what are your session objectives, what are your goals for the session. But if you want to practice or you focus in today's session you focus on starting hands from different positions, then if it goes three-handed it kind of changes all the starting hands. So then it doesn't benefit your sessional goals. But if you are just trying to put yourself into hard spots and see how well you can play in those and find hard spots for later analysis, then you can play even heads up. But I would say that to keep things more simpler and don't give yourself too much to think, 5-way is fine, but when it comes to 4-way, you can check that if there's full tables available. Because even 4-way, it means that there's only, you're going to be half of the times on the blinds and half of the times from cutoff or button. But yeah, I would say that if you are trying to learn like 6-max starting hands, then it's best to play 6-max or 5-max. Let's do a quick thing. Before that, you said that you practice starting hands in the middle of your session.
No, like after one session and before another session.
Yeah, I was about to give you feedback. No. If you double click here on the EP, let's see those 42 hands that you have played.
Sorry, what did you say?
If you double click on the EP column, so we can see what kind of hands you have played from the UTG. So there on the top where you have the positions, double click. No. Double click on the EP. There's different positions. The early position one. This is so hard as I cannot point. I can draw with my screen that press there. No, now you open from the button. Double click on the top where there's the different positions
like
on the
this.
left. Put your mouse over EP.
Yeah.
And double click. Yes, thank you. And then let's make it simple. Let's make a filter. Go to more filters on the left. On the left. On the other left. All the way up left where you have the filters.
Cache filters, yeah.
And actions and opportunities. Actions and opportunities. Pre-flop.
Yeah.
Yes, we have a delay. And voluntarily put money in pot as on.
Yeah.
And then add the filter. So we filter all the hands that you actually played from early position.
Is that the only one?
Yeah. Let's see what hands you open from or limp from UTG. And now we are having 8 hands. And now if you look at those hands, are those all playable hands from UTG?
Yeah, I'm already looking at that and the first hand. Yeah, okay, but the second one is crap. Ace, queen, queen, 3.
Okay,
if it's crap, with it.
Okay, if ace, queen, queen, 3 is crap, how crap it is?
I think it's one of the 1/4 of the crappiest.
So from scale 1 to 100.
It's like bottom bottom 25%?
It's actually in top 7%.
Is it?
Yeah, because you have ace in it and it's suited to the queen.
But it's not suited with a queen.
It is. There's a queen of spades and three of spades.
Ah, the queen. I thought that it needs to be suited with ace.
No, it's suited to the queen. If we change the ace of hearts to, let's say, 7 of hearts, then it goes to 24. So you can open it. This is actually one of those situations where I think that if you want to play tied, this is a fold from UTG. It's in PPT rankings in top 7 because how it plays against other hands on average. But this hand has a lot of problems from UTG because unless you hit the set of queens, there's not much that you can hit really hard, and it doesn't have a lot of multi-way potential. So I think this ace queen queen 3 is only hand from these that you can fold. The other one is 7-7-3-3, which is another marginal hand, as it's totally rainbow, and those are small pocket pairs. So ace queen queen 3 you can fold depending on the table. If there's a lot of passive coin stations, you can open it. 7-7-3-3 is a bit marginal from UTG. It's going to give you a lot of problems, but all the other hands are definitely open ones. Okay, then let's clear the filters and let's see what you didn't play. So go to the left and clear filters.
Yeah.
And here, if you go to the right, where's the pre-flop action, and sort them, so we can see all the hands you folded.
There you go.
Okay, and let's see, is there any hand that you would open now when you can see them later?
Probably not during the first hands that's now visible.
You can scroll down, let's see.
How about this King 10 9 8 1 suited? Is it good enough?
What do you think?
I think it's borderline. There are some sweetness and some connectiveness, but I think it's a hand that you will get into a trouble too easily.
Yeah, you will, because the straight can be dominated. The flush draw 9 high is probably no good in multi-way, but that's a fold from UTG. Other than that, I don't see any hands that are clear open. These are all clear folds. So when you have a tight, good solid UTG range, then it saves you from a lot of problems. Because most of the time problem comes when you open from UTG and the flop is 4-way, and then you're going to hit something on the flop. Those are the hard spots, and those are where people lose a lot of money. And they think that, okay, I put the money in with open-ender and 9 high flush draw, it's a setup. But it's not a setup when you enter a multi-way pot with hand that is going to be dominated often. You had some marked hands.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see those now.
Now I have to get all of these.
No, you just changed the group by change it from position to stage or something.
Probably stake. Yeah.
Probably.
So there's 5 hands.
Yep. Oh, they are Oh, with losses.
Yeah, I know it's
Yeah.
not supposed to go like that, but I think they
Yeah.
have.
I think Arimetsa has seen the same thing while coaching people.
I know.
Most of the marked hands are hands that people are losing money.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and that's the outcome of valuing your abilities by money, or value your success by money. When you lose a
Yeah.
pot, you begin to doubt yourself. Did I play this right? I lost something. Did I do something wrong?
Yeah, actually, there should be like 50 more hands, but I just thought that I just can't mark all of them when I'm having troubles.
Mm, Actually, what you can do is you can mark all of those. That's how you learn.
Yeah.
And then when you have 50 hands, you open them in here and see if there's a common theme. Like, okay, I have 50 hands, and in 10 of those, it's aces on the flop. So now you have one thing that if you figure out how to play those, it's going to be 20% of your marked hands. So definitely every time when you have a hard spot, mark the hand. So you will see after the session if there's, or what are the themes and concepts that benefit you the most. Like if out of those 50 hands, let's say river decisions after passive turn line are half of those hands, then definitely that's something that will help you the most.
I
Instead of working on some concept that is happening only in one of your hands.
I adjusted the voice levels a bit now. So
Yep.
please let me know if that's good enough or should I still adjust them a bit more. I think Kyyberi is getting started with his coaching voice, and I'm just getting weaker and weaker since I see all of my mistakes.
Okay, but
Yeah.
let's see what are your problem spots. I'm interested to see the middle one, but
I'm just trying to figure out.
this is one of those situations where I think that you can't just complete from the small blind. Because button is a shorty. Well,
It's four-handed, isn't it?
yeah,
Yeah.
the button is a shorty, so at least the button we want to raise, but against cutoff, once we raise, we are going to have an SPR of 3 or something. Well, but the thing is that when you open, the big blind is most likely to call here. And you have a pretty crappy kings. If the button had a bigger stack, then it's clear complete in my mind. Because the problem here is that you're going to miss the flop almost 7 out of 8 times. Unless you hit the set of kings, you are most likely going to miss the flop. And out of position, probably 3 or 4 way pot, it's going to suck. But depending on opponents, if there are a lot of passive opponents, you can raise and see what the flop is. But here is the thing that on this flop, what do you see, Beth?
I'm afraid and I don't want to get any free cards to any straight or flush draws.
What are you afraid of?
Everything.
Everything, okay.
Yeah.
Let's remove all the monsters from your closet and Bookleman from under your bed and Arnimex from the house. And let's talk about things that you are afraid on this flop.
I think I'm afraid of all the eights and jacks and hearts. Basically aces as well.
Um, which player should have aces when they don't 3-bet pre-flop?
I think they might have like one random ace, not a pair of aces on their hand.
Yeah, but there's no ace on the flop.
Yeah, but that's
But
why
yeah,
I'm
they-
betting, because I don't want to get them
Okay.
an opportunity to hit the ace on the turn.
Being afraid is not a reason to c-bet. You know that you don't c-bet in sit-and goes because you are afraid. I hope.
Are you sure?
So the same idea that why you c-bet in sit-and goes, the same reasons apply in PLO. It's same game. It's poker.
But there's just so many more opportunities to hit anything.
Yeah.
So it's kind of screws my head up.
Okay. First thing, is your c-bet of 22 cents, is this for value or is it a bluff? Do you want opponents to call or do you want them to fold?
Actually, I would be happy if they folded.
So it's a bluff. So the next question is how often your bluff needs to work. And with that sizing, it's going to be quite a lot. And now if we give these two players a range and see how often they hit something on this flop, like any straight draw, any flush draw, any one pair plus something, any two pair, any set, I would be assuming that most of the time at least one of them is going to call you on the flop. It's really hard to imagine a 4-card hand that totally misses this board. So you don't have, because there are two different straight draws, well actually around 10-9 all of those, but there's straight draw to the up, straight draw to the down, there's a flush draw, there's 10-9-5. There's a lot of things that people can hit on this board. And now if we put this hand to poker tools, I could give you an exact number. But the thing is that you don't have a lot of folding equity on this board. There's so many things that people can hit here. So when you c-bet and you don't have a folding equity, you are going to see the turn. Okay, what would be a good turn card for you? What do you want to see on the turn?
Actually, I think I wouldn't even be happy, like too happy to see the king, but that's the point. I wanted to scare the people away to not to see the turn.
Yeah. To realize your folding equity is a good reason to c-bet, but the thing is that you don't have folding equity here.
Yeah.
Enough. That's why c-bet doesn't work for making people to fold. And once they call, there isn't any good turns for you. King is one of the best ones because then it gives you pretty much good idea how much you have equity if opponents do something. But what happens here is that you check, someone bets, you fold. So on this flop, this is kind of very wet flop. There's so many draws, so many made hands that hit the board that in a three-way pot, just give up.
Okay.
Save your 22 cents.
What if I was holding like pair of aces and the same?
It doesn't matter, because pair of aces is pretty much the same as pair of kings here.
Yeah.
You just missed the board. If you post the hand to forums or send it to me on Skype, then I can give you the numbers. We can put it on your block, and I can give you the numbers how often at least either one of them is going to call here.
So does it make any difference if there was a heads-up pot in that situation?
Heads up is totally different because it depends so much on the opponent.
Yeah, but if that was
even in heads up, I wouldn't assume a lot of folding equity on this flop. It's still opponent is going to hit this flop often, and if you are out of position, if he's a good player, he can float you. Well, PLO 2 people don't float, but this is kind of. It's important to understand that in PLO, even premium aces, even ace, king double suited is a drawing hand. You need to have a good flop. Like ace, king double suited to clubs and diamonds is pretty much paper on this board. 3-way pot.
It's not right.
Yeah, in Hold'em, if you have aces pre-flop, you have a pretty strong hand post-flop too. But in PLO, you might have the best possible starting hand, and then flop comes like this, and you have just a bad bluff catcher.
Yeah.
So that's something that is the one thing that you have to change in your, what would be the word? It's not the attitude, but your
Point of view.
Way of thinking that no matter what you have pre-flop, you need to have a good flop. It happens so often in PLO that you have king, queen, jack, 10 double suited, run down, and then the flop is 5-5-4, and someone raises your bets, and then you just don't have anything anymore. So you have to be able to throw away even aces on certain boards. Okay, let's see the next one.
Okay.
Here we could have saved 11 BBs.
So there's.
Like here, this is nice starting hands. And then the flop comes, it's.
I think one thing is here that if I'm raising and I have a good starting hand, am I supposed to just call all the 3 bets, or is there some kind of a limit that, okay, there's no reason to go in anymore since there's so much more action going on, or are these the ace crackers?
I'm trying to figure out how to answer that question. I would just say that yes and no.
Okay.
It's pretty complicated. If you are sure that the opponent have aces, then it's easy. If you understand the mathematics behind playing with aces and against aces. I would say that often, like here, you have to pay 15 cents in the pot of 64. So no matter what the ranges for opponents are, you have enough equity with these rundowns. But times when we actually want to fold to 3 bets or can fold to 3 bets is when we have pocket pairs. Because if you have a pocket pair, it reduces the times that you can hit the flop. Or will hit the flop. So when you have a pocket pair, you will miss the flop more often. And if you want to call 3-bet with pocket pair, then you need to have a premium pocket pair. Like if you have a queen 7-5 and someone 3-bets, you just have to fold. But if you have a queen jack 10 double suited, then you have a lot more than just the pocket queens. You have 2 flush draws and 3 plus rundown. Another situation is that if you are quite sure that the opponent has aces and you have an ace in your hand, because then you actually have only 3 cards to play with. But these rundowns, like queen jack 10 9 suited to queen, no way you can fold to 3 bets. And this is why there's a bit variance in PLO, because often you open opponent 3 bets, you have to call, then you both hit the flop and the money goes in, and neither one of you made a mistake. It's just 2 players had 2 good hands and hands play themselves. What is interesting here that you fold on the flop. What is the reason for folding?
I thought that, okay, I'm hitting the nut at the flush draw, but it's only queen high, it's not that good, and otherwise I don't really like the flop. I know that the betting size is small, but it's because the other guy is going all in, but then the button still has more stack behind him.
Well, the button has under pot size bet left.
It was hard for me to imagine that I would hit something good enough on a turn that I would really like my situation there.
Well, you don't have to play the turn because you are going to play only the flop. If you shove here, or yeah, it's a shove because button has only 60 cents behind. So if you raise, it's effectively a shove. If you shove here on the flop, and we assume that button calls with his whole range. Now, if you open Pro Poker Tools or Oracle, and now the thing is that we are not. The problem with Pro Poker Tools is that if you want to apply the preflop ranges, it's kind of hard. But let's just have a quick look that you keep some ranges to BB and button, and let's see what is your equity. First question is that if you raise here and button calls, how much you need equity? Button has 60 cents behind. Some rough number.
I don't know.
Okay, mental note, learn mathematics.
Yeah.
There's 64 cents in the pot, BB bet 16, and button has 60 behind. So I'm going to make it simpler. You have to pay 60 cents in the pot of $2. How much you need equity to invest 60 cents in the pot of $2?
Roughly 30%.
Yes, 30% exactly. We don't think about weight. So 30%. Okay, now here put the board, king 6-3, and player 1 put your hand, player 2, I don't know how much button raises, but let's give him like 5% range.
Trees. So flop.
Yeah, on the flop those are actually diamonds, but
sorry. Diamonds.
no.
So I'll just put my hand here.
Yeah.
Queen and
Actually, this is going to take a few more seconds. You can close the Pro Poker Tools. Let's do it this proper way.
Okay.
And open Poker Tools. Change of plans. Let's use the software as you have it. And now from here you set that copy the clipboard, the third one where there's the paper sign.
Yep.
No, the other paper, that one. Yep. And then paste it to Poker Tools.
Yep.
And now, I don't know what we know about the opponents, but we can just give them some preflop ranges. Select the button, size it.
That one.
And give him a preflop range of, I don't know how much he free bets, let's say something around 6 or something.
6%.
No. Press the P with your mouse.
I thought I did.
No, now it's top 6%. It's not the 3-bet of 6%.
Ah,
Yes, there's 3-bet in position.
then 6%.
No, no, no.
Include.
Yeah, select. And yeah, include.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Then we go to bit blind. Select bit blind, and for him, we can probably just, he's a shorty, so we can give him calling range of like raise first in, and let's say 30% and include.
Yeah.
And then you pick up the, on the exclusion box you can type AA, like aces.
Was it? No, comma.
Yeah. No, just aces.
Yeah.
Because if he has aces, he would jump pre-flop, probably. And then we go to flop. And for bit blind, we have to give a shoving range. So we have selected him. So there you can probably give him a shoving range of king plus here on the flop. It's just king plus.
Yeah.
Then you can type DD for any flush draw.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a small delay here. And then you can type like 4-5 plus. And that's probably his shoving range. Any straight draw, any king or better, any flush draw. And then let's go back to the button. And let's give him a same calling range. You can copy that. Oh. King plus DD 4-5 plus. Actually 4-5 is just enough. Well, 4-5 plus, yeah. It gives the double occurs. Yeah, and then you press the orange arrow, and now we can see our average equity on the flop.
Oh, is this a shove module?
No. We just wait. Now, so if the button comes along, then our average equity is 24%. So it's going to be minus EV. But the thing is that we have a folding equity over the button. So now if we go to the range distribution from the right.
Yeah.
Actually, we can go to shove marginal. Go back to the shove marginal. SH on the right.
Yeah.
And we do it this way, that here you take the size flop range and transfer it to his step-off range.
So I'll copy paste it.
Yeah, and then remove it from the flop.
Yeah.
So that is his step-off range. And then remove it there and press forward so that the big blind shoves. Go one step forward here. Okay, and now you can press the shove marginal arrow. Oh, no. Don't go that far away.
One step.
Yeah, now you can't shove because you have folded already.
So so I'll go, yeah, this one, yeah. So now I have a chance to shove.
Yeah, and then you press the arrow so it calculates the EV of your shove. You cannot do it three-way. Okay, let's remove that. Now we need pen and paper. Okay, let's go back to the range distribution.
Mm.
Okay, and now just you have it already in a clipboard. Just paste the range there.
This king plus DD 4-5.
Yep. And then press the arrow so we can see how often he has, or how often we have folding equity.
80%.
So 20% of the time he actually folded. And the thing is that if we are sure that Sizek is going to, if he always has, if this was 100%, then we need to fold. But even when he stacks off with the range we give him, we have 24%, which is 6% smaller than the required 30%. So now we actually have a 20% folding equity versus Sizek. So I think that you definitely need to call or shove here.
Shove, not a call.
Yeah, against the big blinds range, we have definitely enough. We have to pay 14 cents. Why it's 14? Because it's 16 in the, no idea. But anyway, we have to pay like 15 cents into the pot of 64. We need only 15% equity, which we definitely have. And Sizek is going to fold 1 out of 5 times, and when he calls, if that is his calling range, then we actually have almost the required equity. So I would definitely shove here.
Okay.
At the worst, it's pretty much break-even-ish. So there isn't any clear indication why this should be a fold. So I would definitely call here. You have a flush draw, and actually king is sort of your pivot card. So if the turn is any card from 9 or higher, it gives you a straight draw alone. So you have a lot of backdoor equity.
That's true.
Okay?
Yep.
And you can keep the pocket shoes open if we can see what the other hands are. The next hand is interesting one. What is your question in that?
I can't remember anymore. Because some of the questions might be about the other guy's play and not purely mine, but let's see. So yeah, I'm just check folding. Happy with that.
Yeah. And the other one has pretty much the second nuts, and the other one has pretty much the nuts.
So I don't know, it's probably something that if there is a pair of kings that button is having, I think he should be raising instead of just calling.
Yeah.
And there is just such a...
You will see that a lot of players are doing things that you shouldn't be doing. And that's good news, because then you can make money. If everyone would be doing what you should be doing, then you wouldn't have any edge over them. Yeah, people limp a lot. People even limp aces. People limp call with pocket kings. Definitely button should open this one. But especially in PLO2, a lot of players don't really think about poker in the same way that you or I do. They don't see it as a game of strategy, or they don't know that you can actually learn it and improve, and it has something to do with probability. Some of the players are just having fun.
Actually, that is
Sometimes
something that's really like messing my head because I'm thinking that I'm the one who knows the least, like by
oh, in
default.
PLO2 you are the pro.
Yeah, and then I'm just trying to learn by doing, but I shouldn't be learning by watching what other people are doing.
No, definitely not. Don't watch what they are doing. But you can learn, like here, you see that he has a kings, and then you wonder that I would open that. So which one is the fish here? Is it him or is it me? And that actually improves you. Now you know that he was the fish, and you were right. So you can learn by watching what others do as long as you don't think that they are doing the right thing. But if you can see mistakes in your opponent's strategies, it means that you can make money out of them.
I think I'm still in the point that I'm pretty sure that they are doing a mistake, but I can't be like completely sure because there might be some big of a secret that's lying behind their actions and I just don't know it yet.
Yeah, that's why you have around 1,000 members at Pokermania eager to help you. So you just have to ask.
Yeah.
Put it on the chat, ask in your blog. You don't have to figure out it yourself. Probably, if you are wondering that is that a mistake or not, then use the chat and just ask. And I'm pretty sure that someone would answer, like here, someone would answer that yes, it's a mistake to limp on the button. All right, two more.
Ooh, yeah. So there's a big race.
Normal raise.
Normal.
Yeah. Yeah. In PLO, the normal pre-flop raise is a pot.
Yeah, I'm coming from min race world.
So what is the question here?
I think my question is that
How fishy the middle position is.
for example.
Well, yeah, the middle position made a bad decision on the flop. He made a bad decision pre-flop and on the flop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So pre-flop raise, ace king 4-5, ace king suited. That's probably for a hold'em player. It looks like a pretty hand. In PL, that is just garbage. Fold pre-flop, and then on the flop, when he has ace high and backdoors, he decides to call when small blind shoves. Wow. Yeah, but what is your concern?
Actually, that's one question. I know that middle position is really bad for that hand, or that hand to be played from there. But if you're thinking about ace and then small cards, is it probably a way better to have ace, 2, 3, 4, rather than just pairing it up with some other high card, like a Broadway card. There's an ace and king. And
Did you say it would be better to have ace 3-4 than ace king queen?
no, not queen, but I think it's better to have ace deuce 3 rather than ace king 3 and then +5 for them.
Maybe when you have ace deuce 3, you can make the small straight, but when you have ace king, then you can hit ace high boards and king high boards. And you can make the straight with queen jack 10. So I would much rather have ace king 4 5 than ace deuce 3 5. But the problem here is that ace king 4 5 has two hold'em hands. It has 4 5 and ace king. And ace king is suited, so it means that his ace high flush is not going to gain a lot of value. And yeah, 4 and 5 plays along with ace, but they don't play with king. So this hand is pretty bad. There's not much that it can hit if we want to hit really hard on the flop. But yeah, if we compare, like, if we have a hand like ace king queen 6, it's better to have ace king queen 5 than ace king queen 6.
Yeah.
In that way, it makes sense because then 5 is better than 6 because it's still most of the time useless card, but it can give you a wheel.
True.
All right, then the last one.
Aces.
Oh, just one aces.
Actually, I had like 2 or 3 yesterday, but I was so ecstatic after them, I forgot to add them to this list.
Can you put it slightly more up so we can see the stack sizes?
Yeah. Like what to do with aces if they are one suited or not suited and with other crappy cards?
The best thing that you can do is to 4-bet here and create SPR1. So you don't have to play post flop. The thing is that after your call here, 53, 60, you could raise to somewhere around 90 cents. Or button calls even there, so you can raise to somewhere around 120 or so, 115. So I would definitely 4-bet and 3-way shove any flop.
Any flop?
Yeah, well, the opponents will have around 80 cents and 60 cents behind. And the pot is going to be 3.5 euros. So against any ranges you can shove. When the SPR is there, like 0.25 or something, then you can just shove. There's no way the opponents can exploit knowing that you have aces, so here just 4-bet and shove any flop and be happy about it.
Okay.
The best thing that you can do with aces is to make it pre-flop game, because that's when you are ahead. As soon as you have to play post-flop, this is what happens. Flop comes and you are not sure what to do. And now you check raise and put it in with 22%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind raise, of course. Now he happened to have the random deuce, but funny that cutoff checks, but button can bet here, like a lot of flush draws, some overpairs, whatever. The thing is that when you just call and now you have an SPR of 2.5 on the flop, that's when the SPR is 2 or higher and you have aces, then when you shove the flop, you might be overplaying your aces. But if you 4-bet pre-flop and create SPR of 0.25 or 0.3, you can shove any flop and you always have the equity versus ranges. You don't have to worry about where you are at the flop or am I ahead, am I behind, because you made the decision pre-flop.
I think my question here is that Is it always then so obvious that the hero is going to have pair of aces if that's
Yeah.
always the way to go with them?
Well, if you call here and then 4-bet, I would put you on aces always, without other reads. And I like that you call pre-flop. It's good, because if you 3-bet here, you will have some tough decisions on the flop, and your understanding and skills with aces with high SPR is not in the level. I think that if you 3-bet here with these medium strength aces, you are going to make some bad decisions on the flop easily. So calling is fine, but once cutoff 3-bets, it opens you to make that pretty much pre-flop shove. And even in hold'em, you would shove aces pre-flop if you have a chance. So same in PLO, if you have chance to shove aces pre-flop, which if you raise here to 1.15 euros, it's basically a shove with those step sizes. So put the money in when you are ahead of their ranges.
So pre-flop.
Yeah, pre-flop. Because when the flop comes now, you don't know if you are ahead or behind.
Nope.
Yeah. Of course, now you can think that even if you 4-bet, the outcome is the same. So this time, the mistake didn't cost you any money.
Yeah, but basically the idea that how you should be playing those aces is probably the main focus here.
Yeah, I would say that every time when you have a chance to shove aces pre-flop, just do it. You can't go wrong with that. And here, like raising to 1.15, or how much you can actually 53 more. Yeah, it's close. If you can raise to somewhere, even if you can raise to €1, it means that if they call the pot, it's going to be €3, and they have 95 cents and 78 cents, so they have under an euro in their stack size, and the pot is €3. So it's going to be SPR 0.3. So basically, it's a shove pre-flop. To stack off on the flop, you need 20 or 25% equity, and you have that versus any range. So you can stack off on any flop.
So what did you think about the play of the kings there? Or if I was having them in my hand, would it be completely different then, even though it's the second biggest pair, but it's not aces?
This is the thing that, this is why you don't have folding equity pre-flop with 3-bets. Like, this is the hand that should be folded when someone 3-bets if you put them on aces. Like, if he thinks that cutoff has aces, then he needs to fold the kings. It's not plus EV to call, because he's going to miss the flop too often. So I don't like his call to 3-bet, but this is, people do. They don't understand the concept of hitting the flop, or how often you hit the flop with what average equity and so on. They just think that I'm going to see the flop if I hit my king, or trip deuces, or something else. And these are kind of hands that you should often fold to 3-bets, these really crappy kings. But as you can see, people don't do that. So probably this player doesn't have any folding range to 3-bets. So if he opens and you 3-bet, he's going to call you 100% of the time, because he wants to see the flop.
Yeah, it seems so.
So don't bluff 3-bet in PLO.
Yeah, I remembered your advice that do not 3-bet quite yet, since you're not familiar with the situations and what to do with each hand. So
yeah,
I've been trying to avoid that.
Yeah, to be able to navigate through 3-bet pots, you need to have a good understanding about ranges, like what is your average equity versus different kind of ranges. Because in 3-bet pots, when the SPR is 2 or 3, we often just give our opponent kind of range and see if we have enough equity versus that range or not. And if you're not familiar with that kind of thinking, then you are really going to be lost. Like here, if you didn't have a 5 in your hand, you have just bare aces, then you have no idea if you are ahead or behind. Should you stack off, should you not, and so on. So I would say that hold back the 3-betting until you are familiar with the basics.
Yeah.
Because it will just give you too much to learn, too much to think about. And your brain has just limited resources for learning. It's like if you go to the gym, you get better results if you focus on different areas. But if you try to train every muscle in every different way at the same time, if you want to practice speed and power and endurance on every one of your muscles at the same time in the gym, it doesn't work. So that's why when people go to gym and lift weights, they focus on different areas. Same thing with your brains. Don't try to learn everything at the same time. Focus on a few things at a time. Okay.
Yep.
So before the next time, keep on practicing defining range.
Yeah.
And it might not be useful at the tables at the moment, but the more you do it before the sessions, the better you will be at it. And without that, it's really hard to go to the post-flop situations. And then keep on practicing the starting hands and try to do it more than once in 2 weeks, the way we showed or we practiced last time. And pretty much those are 2 things that you can practice.
I'm trying to practice more and go through the hands and ranges and all the outs and play some and be lost.
Yeah. When you are outside the tables, practice defining range, just be familiar how it's done, and practice those starting hands. It will help you. And when you are playing, you can practice calculating outs, seeing the nuts. Does the turn change the nuts? The sooner those become or goes to the level of unconscious competence, the easier it is to play, because then you don't have to think it while playing. You just know what the nuts are. And there's keep on marking the hands and please post some of these hands to forums.
Yeah, I completely forgot about that. I will do better better this week and get some hands on. I will be actually streaming on Saturday.
Yeah.
So feel free to join me on my journey then. And there is also Kyberi's own PLO coaching on Saturday as well.
Maybe,
depending.
Yeah, still under work about the schedules.
Yeah. But we will post some information about that on our forum and of course on our Twitch and Facebook channels as well.
Yeah. All right. Have fun with PLO.
I will definitely try that. No promises yet.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your help again.
Okay. Thank you, and we will continue in 2 weeks.
We will do that. See you then.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.